I'm sorry. I've been staring at these Godzilla vs. Kong pops. They are so damn beautiful. I gotta pony up. I gotta spend the money on these things. What's happening?
I'm being torn apart. I want to be free of this pain. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Will you help me?
Yes, anything.
I got the money. Let's go. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. I have missed y'all's beautiful faces here on Side Flick, but hey, we wasn't having Side Flick for a while because we were finally getting big blockbuster movie news, and that always deserves its own video. But today what we're going to be talking about is a lot to catch up on because a lot of smaller things have been happening in the world of movie news that I'm excited to discuss. We're going to talk about Spy Kids getting a reboot. We have some video game movies in the works with some interesting updates there. Talking some Spider-Man 3 like I love to do every now and then. Really, that is so much more. So I'm gonna need you guys to give me your opinions down below with everything we discussed here today. Really, again, just so grateful to have you guys watching here, taking the time to subscribe, hitting that like button, and talk with me in the comment section. And on that sweet, happy note, let's get a little dark. We got so many delayed movies, y'all. Since the last time we've talked on Side Flick, they've went ahead and delayed like about 20 different movies. I'm just going to go ahead and round off the list. These are the new dates for some of the movies we have up and coming that have been recently delayed. Get your pencils out on a paper, and yes, make sure you're writing in pencil because these gonna change again. We just know it. We have The King's Man now coming out August 20th of this year. We have A Quiet Place 2 now coming out September 17th of this year. Really sad because I was hoping to see that earlier this year. No Time to Die, the final James Bond movie with Daniel Craig, now moved to October of 2021. So many movies we have coming in October now. Last Night in Soho, the Edgar Wright horror movie, that's October 22nd, 2021. We then got news that Ghostbusters Afterlife, the third Ghostbusters movie, moved from earlier this year all the way to November 11th, 2021. Man, Morbius got moved to a whole nother year, January 2022. Uncharted with good old Tom Holland moved to February of next year. So again, that's a whole nother year of waiting on that film. Believe it or not, Godzilla vs. Kong, even though it had its triumphant return, also got delayed, but don't get too panicky because it was only by 1 week, okay? They moved from March 25th all the way to March 31st, so hey, one more week, we can wait on that. Kind of random that they went ahead and did that though, because it's like you just generated so much hype with that amazing trailer. In fact, it was the most viewed trailer by Warner Brothers so far, outbeating the Batman trailers. That should just really show you how hyped people are, and if the pandemic wasn't a thing, I guarantee this would have been a billion-dollar movie. Some people are saying though, the reason for that delay though, it looks like because the Snyder Cut, that is the Justice League movie that we'll be getting on HBO Max, will be coming a week before, so it's going to be taking that place, but no confirmation on that, but that would kind of make sense. And then we have James Wan's horror movie that I am looking forward to, entitled Malignant, coming out September 10th of this year. They even went ahead and dropped a little teaser image on that. Looks like some killer holding a very unique looking knife. Now, James Wan is a director that always brings it, in my opinion, especially if it's a horror movie. I definitely want to watch. Now, I will say, I have been hearing a lot of mixed things about this movie. I'm hearing it is not as good as the studio was hoping for, but I don't want to believe it because I think James Wan really is great, but only time will tell. I just want to go ahead and start off Side Flick with mentioning all those delayed movies because, man, feels like 2020 all over again. And which on those lists were you most sad got delayed? Which one are you okay with? Leave me your thoughts on that down below. Getting on from there, let's talk about one of my favorite childhood movies, and that is Spy Kids, okay? I was a kid who grew up with the original Spy Kids, even more so since it revolved around a Hispanic family. I was all over that movie, being Hispanic myself, and I will completely treasure those first three films. That fourth one didn't exist in my opinion, and now we just got word from Deadline that they're gonna go ahead and move forward with a Spy Kids reboot with Robert Rodriguez, who has been the original writer and director of the past four films. Deadline here has it reported Skydance Media to reimagine the Spy Kids franchise with Spyglass Media and series creator Robert Rodriguez. Spyglass here is really taking up so many properties and rebooting them because Spyglass is the company right now responsible for the Scream 5 movie that is technically a reboot since they're going back to the original name and want to show it to a whole new audience, even though it's a continuation of the same world. Then they're also working on a Hellraiser reboot, and now they're picking up this Spy Kids movie and wanting to reboot that. Now, like I said in the article, they mentioned Robert Rodriguez, the man who has made the past 4 movies, is coming back to write and direct this film. So with that said, the word reboot kind of has a whole different meaning in our modern day. Back a couple years ago, reboot meant you were kind of starting over, you were starting fresh, but now when you reboot something, more than not, creators and studios like to keep the continuity the same, just kind of rebrand the thing, make it look like it's a whole new thing so new audience members can jump in on. And you know what? Spy Kids I think is perfectly built for a reboot, and I think this also has a lot to do with the movie We Can Be Heroes that just premiered on Netflix, that was again directed and written by Robert Rodriguez and was a spiritual sequel to Shark Boy and Lava Girl, another movie written and directed by Robert Rodriguez. He's really been responsible for some really colorful, unique children movies with the mind-blowing CGI that also just happens to look cheap even though they've spent millions of dollars on that look. But even with me saying I'm excited and I'm looking forward to what they could possibly do, I have to remember the last Spy Kids movie he did was Spy Kids 4, and I thought maybe bringing in an older version of Junie and Carmen from the old movies would kind of work and was sort of the reboot they were going for with a new group of kids, but that movie was just not really watchable in my opinion. It felt so flat for me. Fast forwarding now to We Can Be Heroes, that even though I did enjoy, is still not up to the level of quality that I would think the first 2 Spy Kids movies were. So even though he's coming back, I'm hesitant, I'm nervous, but hopefully he can bring in that fun that I had with those first 2 movies, take it a little more serious. I know there's some goofy elements in there, but really, in my opinion, the first Spy Kids still holds up to this day for adults and children. Only question is now, will they try and bring back in Junie and Carmen or whoever these new kids are? Hopefully they're entertaining to watch. And hey, Machete cameo, we can't go without that. How do you guys feel about Spy Kids getting the reboot treatment? Getting on some video game talk right here, we're going to combine 2 news stories concerning some popular video games getting the movie adaptation. First one off the bat here is the Borderlands live action movie. Now, unfortunately, Borderlands isn't a video game I'm too familiar with. I've never really played it. I've seen the cover art and people be real fans of it. Nonetheless, that's kind of the point of this live action movie, where they're going to go ahead and introduce it to a new audience and hopefully get people invested in their cinematic universe and the video games. And they recently just confirmed that Kevin Hart will actually be involved in this Borderlands movie. In a statement made here by Eli Roth, who is directing the movie, he said, "I'm thrilled to be working with Kevin. Borderlands is a different kind of role for him, and we are excited to thrill audiences with a side of Kevin they've never seen before. He's going to be an amazing Roland." So he's going to be playing the character of Roland. Again, I wish I could really say I knew what that meant and he fits that, but from everything I'm gathering from fans online and what they're thinking about, Kevin Hart, his persona and his acting style does not really fit the character of Roland, who is more serious and a badass sharpshooter. But then again, that's what the directors here is saying. Kevin Hart is going to be stepping out of his comfort zone and giving the audience something that we haven't seen done before, and for that reason alone, super excited about it, because I've said it for years. I do like Kevin Hart. I find him funny, but I hate how in movies he always ends up becoming the fast-talking, screaming, funny guy who also makes fun of his height in every single movie, that it's really starting to wear thin, that if he's really stepping out of his comfort zone and is actually going to be trying to act like a badass and giving us something different, I'm all up for that. For the Borderlands fans, do you think this is a good casting choice? And hey, can you kind of explain the video game to me, because I'm not that familiar with it. But to a video game franchise I am familiar with, we have here Tomb Raider 2 getting an update on the sequel that they're working with Alicia Vikander. I was pleasantly surprised with her first Tomb Raider movie. I didn't think it was a horrible movie, but also didn't think there was anything that spectacular about it. Now with the sequel, they are really stirring up the pot to make something amazing. They just went ahead and announced that for the sequel of Tomb Raider, they've gotten the director, who's the showrunner on Lovecraft Country, a show I think is really well done. That is Misha Green, and from everything I've seen of her so far with Lovecraft Country, I'm kind of even more excited for this second Tomb Raider movie. She did went ahead and tweet out when this news came out. She said, "My fave from classic era is Legend, and from survival era, it's a tie between Rise and Shadow." So I'm thinking something like, bunch of emojis kind of giving us an idea of her movie. I do see a dinosaur in there. If we get a freaking dinosaur in Tomb Raider 2, oh, they can have my money. With this creative director on board for Tomb Raider 2, does that make you excited for the sequel, or are you not excited at all for another Tomb Raider movie? And I did have a Sonic movie 2 update, but like I said, so much to catch up on SideFlick. I'll be making that its own video later today, so be on the lookout on my page where I will bring you a new update on the Sonic sequel. Moving over to something that did come out that I found fascinating here was the announcement that the Hollywood Reporter made that the Harry Potter franchise will be getting a live-action TV series for HBO Max. Maybe a few years ago this wouldn't have been a big deal to me and I would have just kind of shrugged it off, but now that we live in a world where studios are competing so big with their television shows for their streaming services, like with Disney Plus coming out with The Mandalorian, WandaVision, Amazon Prime working on a super expensive Lord of the Rings TV series, and HBO Max just announcing new TV shows for all their big blockbuster properties, this Harry Potter show I think is going to be crazy. Now unfortunately in the article they don't go into too much detail of what the actual story could be, but the main idea for this is to expand the world of Harry Potter, and I think there's really only one way you can do this that would make sense, and just have it follow a new group of kids, brand new to the world, not tied to any of the books or anything like that, and let's follow them again from starting off in Hogwarts and then each season going through a different year of the school. But really this is a perfect opportunity to show us sides of Hogwarts that we hadn't seen before, classes that they never got the time to dive into, certain spells. Also, if you're set in modern time, what is a kid who owns a tablet, a cell phone? How does magic even matter to that person? If they do something else, okay, but I mean, we saw with what they've done with Fantastic Beasts, and I'm still kind of on that side of the franchise. Really curious to hear what you Harry Potter fans think this new live action series will be about. And here on the 3C channel, we just can't go a week without talking about some Spider-Man 3 here. Still the movie I'm most looking forward to, and we just might have gotten some little bit of sad news here. You guys know if you've been following the Spider-Man 3 news just like me, reading every article, every rumor, there is just so much craziness going on that one of the rumors did involve that basically every villain from all these Spider-Man movies, both Tobey, Andrew, and Tom Holland's, would somehow be showing up in this third movie. And one of those villains was Dahan as Green Goblin, who appeared in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Well, Dahan went ahead and debunked those rumors, not even giving us a like, oh, you never know, or I can't even answer that question because I'm under contract. He was just straight up, yeah, no. When interviewed by Radio Times, he went ahead and said this: there's no truth to those rumors. I don't even know how that would be pulled off. I would certainly love to make some kind of movie like that again. I love making superhero movies or in that kind of world, and I'm sure I'll find myself in that world again, and I have no idea what they're doing with the Spider-Man movie now, but I don't really understand a world in which that would be possible. Ugh. Looks like our friend good old Dahan is not familiar with the multiverse theory, but honestly, I do believe him right there. I don't think this is a case of him just denying and saying it won't happen, then he'll secretly show up in the movie and surprise us all. Like, he legitimately sounds like, how is that even possible? What are y'all talking about? He even went ahead and tweeted, now that he's debunked these rumors, that his mom can stop asking him about this. So Dahan's mom, if you're watching Sideflick, he's not in Spider-Man 3. But he's gonna be in Chronicle 2, at least we hope so, because we still want that sequel. But with this Spider-Man 3 rumor being debunked, it also makes me go back and question all the other rumors, and it's like, okay, which one's the real one? Which one is the fake one? If the Willem Dafoe rumor is correct, that he's returning as Green Goblin and he'll play Norman Osborn again, then I think it would make a lot of sense why they wouldn't want to bring in Dahan. It's like, we already have enough Green Goblins in there. We really want to bring in another one, and even though I know he wasn't Norman Osborn, he was still a Green Goblin. Just like probably why they won't bring in Topher Grace's Venom as Eddie Brock, because technically they have Tom Hardy's Venom, who is Eddie Brock, and that would just be another confusing factor. Still sad, because I really like Dahan as an actor, and I would love to see him in more stuff, and I feel like he could have done a better job as his Harry Osborn, but we'll see. He says maybe one day he'll be in a superhero movie, so we'll just have to wait for that day. But how do you guys feel about him confirming he's not coming back for Spider-Man 3? And now, does this make you question which other rumors are not correct? But that is just all the movie news we currently have going on right now, guys. I really want to thank you for watching this episode of Side Flick. Leave me all your opinions down below with everything we discussed here today. Also, don't be forgetting to check back later on the channel, because like I said, I have some Sonic Movie 2 updates to bring you guys. And again, everything, be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.